Hi, I'm Fern.
I'm Sierra.
I'm Kylie.
And I'm Jubilee, and today our goal is decent work and economic growth. So the goal is to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. And decent work is like opportunities for everyone that works productive and delivers fair income for whoever needs it.
Yeah, and that can include small businesses, bigger franchises such as like Google or Target, and even like home-owned businesses like you're your own entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I very much do.
One thing that's really been affected from COVID are the small businesses. A lot of them closed down, and I've only recently started to see them pop up again.
Yeah, like small restaurants, like Mexican food places and stuff like that, or like just like a lot of restaurants have been closed down just because of all of this whole COVID thing.
Even like smaller shops with bigger franchises such as Verizon. I know the other day I had to go to 3 Verizons just to get to one open one.
Yeah, and like the employment rate that started in 2020, it had dropped 14% since like 2020 started, and like the whole COVID thing started too.
I know that like a lot of people are losing their jobs because of it, and like they're depending on the what's it called?
Unemployment and stimulus.
Yes.
And even that, it went from, I think it was like 1,050 for unemployment down to like, I think it was like 750. It was like something drastic like that.
Yeah, with a lot of the like economic like stuff, like I don't really know how to say it, but like the growth is like slowing down for like the whole country and even the whole world, which is really surprising because like that hasn't really been like that really hasn't happened in like a long time.
Was the last time the Great Depression?
Yes, yeah, it was the last time
and like that's almost 100 years. It's like,
yeah.
But one thing that has been good for COVID and everything are the online businesses, and like Amazon's really been thriving from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
all that.
I know Kylie was like saying something earlier about the UPS stuff.
Yeah, I think she was saying something like how because Amazon is like one of the bigger companies that are shipping out right now, the like UPS and FedEx and stuff like that, they're really suffering from it.
Yeah.
And I think that
go ahead.
Go ahead.
That like Disneyland and like Knott's closing like really affected the cities too.
Yeah. Disneyland's like the biggest part, like the biggest income for Anaheim, and now it's being shut down, and they've lost a lot of revenue from that.
They've also
did you guys know that Disneyland is
Go Jubilee, my bad.
Yeah, and it's the most richest. Sorry, it's just you're laggy on my end. Sorry, my bad. Did you guys know that Disneyland is the most richest what's it called park? Out of everything. Yeah, amusement park. And like to lose a lot of like people going into your like amusement park for like all the other amusement parks like must have been bad for business, and like I wonder what they would do to kind of help the situation in a way.
Yeah, and while like Disney's a huge company. It's like one of the biggest out there. So I don't necessarily think they've lost a ton considering how much they have, but they are a big part of what goes into each city that each park is in. So like I'm sure down in Florida where Disney World is, I'm sure they lost a lot too. And so it's just been really bad to see that Disney altogether has been closing, not for Disney itself, but for like the cities and the environment around them.
Yeah. Adding on
Yeah.
to that, Buena Park has also lost a lot of tourism and like money because of Knott's, and one of the other big amusement parks that are in the either like around in Southern California. Knott's relied on a lot of people going there, and I'm pretty sure like in October or something they did have like a food type thing, or they have their food shops open or whatever. But I'm not really sure on that. But I know Buena Park has lost a lot of money and people coming there just because of Knott's not being open.
Yeah, and I think that's just like around everything, like that affects COVID affected like the whole world, the whole country,
Yeah.
you know? Like, do you have any thoughts on this, Sierra?
No, all I have to say is that it affected so many people. Like, it's sad because like a lot of businesses and like amusement parks, just a lot of stuff closed down, and it's just like affected everyone.
Yeah, and I think the government can like work to build dynamic, sustainable, innovative, and people-centered economies promoting youth employment and women's economic empowerment in particular, and decent work for all. And that alone will just help people work out of poverty and get a better lives for their children and themselves.
Yeah, but even then, like it's going to take a lot for the government to be able to actually achieve that goal. So, this isn't like an overnight change where, all of a sudden, like we're out of this stump for the economy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just think that like we can probably, if like we work together faster, we can help make that happen a little bit faster than it is. And I know that it will not happen overnight, definitely not. But there's always hope.
Yeah, and it takes everyone to like even like flatten the curve, and like everybody needs to help each other and come together and just like be one. And a lot of people aren't really doing that. They're just kind of thinking of themselves and stuff like that. When you think about
I think that like people,
no, go ahead, Jubilee.
if they like think about themselves, I think it kind of takes a step back from helping everybody win like the goal, like,
Yeah.
And you were saying?
Oh, I was gonna say like to like add on to that, like if you think about it, like COVID like affected at least 400 million jobs, and like a lot of people lost their jobs. Like about 400 million people lost their jobs.
Yeah, and who would have known that like once like COVID started hitting, no one would have guessed that many people would be losing their jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really expected how hard this pandemic was going to hit, I think we were all just kind of expecting, another week of spring break and we'll be back,
Yeah. To think about it, schools have lost a lot of money too, because for like attendance purposes and like kids not being at school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even just the revenue they get off of the lunches that the kids like pay for,
Yeah.
they've lost all that since we're not in person. We can't pay them anything for lunch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And then, yeah. Anyways, so this was an very interesting conversation that we had, and I hope you liked it, Mr. Almeida.
Yeah.
Or anyone else who's watching it
Yeah.
or listening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this concludes our
All right,
podcast.
then.
Yes.
Yeah. Episode 1 of our topic.